The ocean covers 70% of our planet, but we've mapped out more of the moon than our own seafloor. And that's because the ocean is a brutal environment for technology. But there's one company that has mastered that inner space better than almost anyone, and that's Covelya. They've been around for over 50 years, and this $615 million acquisition is what gets me very excited for Kraken's future. Now, that has everyone wondering who actually makes up this subsea powerhouse, and that's exactly what I want to focus on in this video. Today, we're breaking down 6 of the subsidiaries that make up Covelya and why that underwater tech is going to be such an asset to Kraken for years to come. Now, first up, we have the leader of their entire subsidiary, and that's Sonardyne. And they've been based in the UK. These guys have been around for over 50 years, and if you need to know exactly where a robot is 4,000 meters underwater, you call Sonardyne. They specialize in underwater navigation, positioning, communication, and their tech is the GPS of the ocean. They're used from everything from offshore wind farms to naval defense. Now, the second component is EIVA, and that's the brains of this autonomous driver. We head to Denmark to meet them. That's where they're based. And this is going to lead me into another point is Covelya is global. And by acquiring a global talent base, we're also acquiring those existing contracts. Now, if Sonardyne is the ears and mouth of a subsea mission, EIVA is the brain. They develop high-end software like the famous Navi suite that automates subsea surveys. They use AI and robotics to make sure that underwater data is processed in real time. Basically, they turn raw sonar pings into beautiful, actionable, digestible 3D maps. The third is Voyis, and that's effectively the eyes of the operation. You can't map what you can't see, and that's where Voyis comes in. And they're based in Canada. Voyis creates the world's most advanced underwater laser scanners and imaging systems. While traditional cameras see murky green, Voyis tech cuts through the silt and provides crystal clear, millimeter accurate 3D models of shipwrecks, pipelines, and hulls. And I don't really need to explain why that's beneficial. But it's very exciting integrating that into Kraken's hardware that they currently offer. Number 4 is Chelsea Technology, and that's the vitals. While the others look at objects, Chelsea Technologies looks at the water itself. Again, they've been around for over 50 years, specializing in environmental sensors. They monitor ocean health, climate change, and even scrubber wash water on massive cargo ships to ensure they aren't polluting. If you need to detect a single drop of oil in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, Chelsea is the group that is doing it. Number 5 is Wavefront System, and they are the detectors. Now let's talk about security, and that's what Wavefront Systems specializes in: sonar design. They're famous for their Sentinel system, and that is the world's most deployed intruder detection sonar. It can detect a diver or a small underwater drone from hundreds of meters away, protecting ports, yachts, and critical infrastructure from underwater threats. Number 6 is 4Cs, and 4Cs is the shield. 4Cs is Covelya's dedicated global naval defense arm. They take the cutting edge tech from all other subsidiaries and battle harden it for the world's navies. They focus on underwater surveillance, mine hunting, and protecting sea lanes. They are essentially the bridge between commercial tech and national security. Now, to wrap this up, how is this going to affect change for Kraken? So why did Kraken spend over $600 million to buy this whole group? Well, it's because they're combining Kraken's high-resolution sonar and batteries with Covelya's navigation and communication. Again, they've created effectively a one-stop shop for the entire subsea industry. And we are looking at a true sea change in how we explore the deep oceans. Now, how does Kraken integrate with a company that has global offices, right? That's going to be the biggest challenge, I think, over the next 2 years. However, if they do execute that well, they are bringing 2 giant companies together. Kraken isn't just growing larger, it's creating a closed-loop ecosystem for subsea technology. And what gets me so excited about this stock is the fact that before this deal, a manufacturer of autonomous underwater vehicles, they had to shop around. We can use Anduril as an example. They might buy batteries and sonar from Kraken, but then they would have to go to Sonardyne, which is Covelya's subsidiary, for the positioning and navigation tech. However, Kraken can now offer that entire suite of tech from one source. From high-density SeaPower batteries to synthetic aperture sonar for imaging, they now are adding navigation and communication tech from Covelya. And inevitably, we want the end customer to realize these benefits. It's the naval and commercial clients that are now getting a single provider for their entire electronic nervous system of their robots. And if we want to talk about market diversification, Kraken has been heavily focused on high growth defense contracts within the US and Royal Navy, and Covelya is now bringing over 700 existing customers and 50 years of heritage for what that's worth in the commercial sector. That's offshore wind, oil and gas, and ocean science. This really will balance out Kraken's revenue streams. It's going to provide a stable commercial cash flow to fund their high-intensity R&D, which I expect that they will spend a lot of money in the next 5 years. However, there is immediate financial scale, right? This isn't just we'll see how this plays out merger. It is immediately beneficial. Now, the revenue jump on a combined basis, the company or group is projected to generate around $350 million to $380 million throughout 2026, but Kraken has identified roughly $10 million in cost synergies within the first 24 months. This comes from shared supply chains, combined R&D facilities, which now total over 450 square feet, 450,000 I should say, and of course administrative optimization. Now, what they don't tell you is how hard that's going to be to integrate when you're a relatively small company that is capturing so many new employees. Running that at an optimized level is incredibly challenging. However, by merging, these two companies now hold a combined portfolio of over 110 patents. And what I want to focus on is their engineering talent. This team now includes over 800 technical staff, which are made up of engineers and scientists that have been with this company for a very long time. Over half of their staff have been with them for over 10 years. This Teledyne strategy that Covelya has used in the past mimics the successful strategy of owning every component of the underwater supply chain, and now Kraken is going to effectively replicate that. Competitors can now, they have to buy from you regardless of who builds the robot. They have one primary company to work with. And of course, what I wanted to touch on is the geographical aspect. While I do believe it's going to be very hard to integrate with offices in the UK, Denmark, I mean, we're gaining 12 strategic locations across 10 countries. And this physical presence within the UK and Denmark allows them to provide better global support and maintenance, which is really where high margin, long-term, reoccurring revenue lives. So if they can execute that properly and marry these teams together, you got to realize that, the Covelya team is or should be very excited to partner with Kraken Robotics, which has received so much positive PR over the last 2 years. They have had astronomical growth. And I mean, if you're on this Covelya team, I would imagine that seems very excited to get moving and integrated. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out. I think there's a lot of upside. And maybe you can consider their future the Google Maps of the ocean. Thanks for watching. Please don't subscribe. I do not want to make this many edits again. Thanks.